Here you see Zelensky coming out of the British airplane that brought him from Britain after he had the meeting there. So he's now in the continental Europe, in Brussels. From there, he will go from the airport. He will go to the European Parliament. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, had a great reception. I think it was Thursday, February 9th, and he was in Britain. He was received with great applauses and great joy by the British Parliament and the Prime Minister of Britain. He Afterwards he went. This video is shown that he went to France and then from there to Brussels to the in the European Union. What the French television is showing right now is the British airplane in the tarmac, waiting for the ladder to be brought. He's in a campaign to ask for help, for the military help, so they can get the military equipment. And he's not just defending Ukraine; he's defending the whole Europe. However, he's having a rough time trying to get the right equipment that he needs to defend in Ukraine. The Europeans don't want to give him right weapons that just he can defend inside Ukraine. But this is not possible to win a war against this old neo-Soviet Putin. The guy is losing the war inside Ukraine, but he's winning the war because he's bombing the country using missiles and drones. And the way the Ukrainians can counteract this is they attack from Ukraine, they attack the territory of Russia where those missile sites are located. And they had to destroy them inside the Russian territory because it's from the Russian territory is where the Putin is bombing all the buildings, all the houses, and all the things that belong to Ukraine, civilians' properties. So his capacity to attack and destroy these buildings inside Ukraine is right now untouched because the Europeans and the United States don't want to give Ukraine the weapons that they need to reach 400 miles inside the Russian territory. What? The Russian territory is sacred. This is like a holy land that cannot be touched. They're attacking their enemies from their own territory, but their enemies cannot counteract them. From a geopolitics point of view, this is nonsense. And from a military point of view, this is nonsense. Because he's the one that knows how to fight the Russians. All these NATO people are just afraid. They are just how they think Putin can come back all of them and start a war against them. They just go together as a group and help Ukraine to keep his territory. But they're afraid. Who write these ridiculous military rules of engagement? I compare this what's happening to Ukraine against Russia as two boxers. No, one boxer is told by the referee he has to stay in his corner. He cannot give a step forward to attack his opponent. He has to stay in his corner, and from his corner he has to try to beat the other boxer. Meanwhile, the other boxer, Russia, he can approach this one in the corner, beat him, go back, go forward, have plenty capacity to move around, attacking the poor guy, the poor boxer that is just cornered up. I mean, this is ridiculous. How can the boxer in the corner win the fight? From there, he will be taken to a small moment with Emmanuel Macron, the president of France. And he's a nice person, but he's backslapper. No, he doesn't want to help Ukraine. He's one the whole European. He's the one that want to help Ukraine the less. So he had been dragging his feet, and they smile to this poor guy. It's not a poor guy. It's a great guy. He wasn't for him. Ukraine would have fallen a long time ago. Zelensky is a great military man, and in my opinion, he should be the next NATO supreme commander. Putin called him. He knows them psychologically because he knows a lot of psychology, and he has his military psychologists that they know how to read the minds of these European leaders like the palm of their hands. So when they were sending the first time, when they were sending like blankets and bottled water and all Soviet Union era tanks, when they were sending these supplies to Ukraine, the Russians reacted immediately. They say, "Oh, if you help them with these weapons, you're gonna be co-belligerent." And all these European leaders just panic. Oh no, he called us a co-belligerent. So for a while they stopped sending anything to Ukraine. Afterwards, the British had the courage to send great equipment that the Ukrainians used to sink a couple of vessels, Russian vessels that were just uh, a few miles away from the Mariupol coast, and they sank them. They sank one of the greatest ships that is from the Soviet era that the Russian had just like 200 miles away from the Ukrainian coast, and they sank the ship. That was has an admiral there, and full Russian soldiers that died. It's Putin war, but he sacrifices people like for nothing. So with the weapons that the British sent, there were some special rockets at long distance that could reach about 300 miles, and so they were able to destroy the big ship that was sending missiles and downing all kind of buildings and infrastructure in Ukraine. But right now they're just talking about sending some Leopards tanks from Germany. There you see Zelensky and Macron. As I told you, Macron is a back slapper and also a back robber. He's robbing the back of Zelensky, but he's not gonna give him the weapons that Zelensky needs to win. So he's just smiling, just throwing his back. Here in this photo up, you can see Macron in the center, uh, Zelensky on the left, and the president of Germany, Scholz, on the right. And they're getting ready to make a proclamation or a speech. And joining them will be Ursula von der Leyen, which is she's the top-notch boss of the European Union. She's a nice lady and very friendly to Ukraine, but just that providing weapons that the Ukrainians came here to ask them for. There you see Ursula von der Leyen, and Mrs. Leyen is the European Union boss. Is the top-notch boss, great friend of Ukraine, very courageous. When the Russians were still around the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, she went to see Zelensky when the bullets were still flying on the air. So she's very courageous. And that happened just about a year ago in February when the neo-Soviets invaded Ukraine. Ursula is giving the welcome to Zelensky, and she's telling him how much they'd love to for him to join the European Union. Who knows when? because the guy has been begging to belong to the European Union, Ukraine to belong to the European Union since 2014, and they are always postponing and just giving things, you know. Um, so now they say that the European Union will accept pretty soon. Who knows what pretty soon means? Um, will accept Ukraine to be a member of it. So, and now right here you see the three friends, the three amigos, Ursula, Zelensky, and the German show, and they're hugging the visitor. There's all smiles and all promises. So hopefully some of these promises will consolidate, will become a reality. Here, Volodymyr Zelensky is making his case one more time to see his words penetrate the ears of the European leaders. And he's just talking to them, asking them to give him help, telling them that he's fighting not just for Ukraine, he's fighting for the whole Europe. And that's true. When the new Soviets, the Putin just sent his troop there, he sent a long line of there were about 60 miles long queue of tanks toward Ukraine in February last year, and he they read some weird history that they have, saying that all this country belonged to the ancient Russian Empire. That before the Soviet Union it was the Russian Empire. So he was threatening. He wanted to get back all these free nations that they have in Europe today, like Romania, the Czech Republic, the Hungarian, all these countries that used to belong. They claim that they wanted them back, but Ukraine stopped them. Zelensky stopped them. So the Europeans should know that Zelensky is fighting not just for Ukraine; he's fighting for all of them. Because after if Ukraine falls, the rest of the country will fall as well. It will be just a matter of time when this downfall of all these European countries will happen. And the British are going to send more equipment, and the US is talking about sending Abraham tanks. But they don't want to give him the airplanes that he needs to go inside the Russian territory and destroy all the arsenals they're using, all these mobile rocket launchers they're using to attack Ukraine. That's the only way they're attacking Ukraine right now, from afar from this Russian territory, and that has to be taken care of. If Ukraine is going to win, they have to destroy these mobile and sites and military bases that the Russians are using to attack them from their own territory. Okay, friends, this is all I have for you in this geopolitics video, and I will speak to you later on in another video. Okay, bye bye.